People who were spanked as kids, what was that like for you? Would you call your spankings abuse? I think the "I'll give you something to fucking cry about" was worse than the spanking, to be honest. All I remember is wooden spoons. I don't remember what I did wrong. I do remember being terrified of a wooden spoon. My spankings, more like solo pops on the bum or wrist with an open hand, were given very infrequently, either as a last resort after all other disciplinary measures had failed or as a quick deterrent to a dangerous behavior, i.e. running out into the street. I was okay with this, and do not consider it abuse. My parents are very loving and would never intentionally hurt me. The abuse around the spankings and the fear and threats were bad. There were times later when I wish my parents would just beat me and be done with it rather than scream and threaten and guilt trip me for literal hours. I don't remember a single thing that I was spanked for. I honestly have no recollection of what I did to deserve those spankings other than piss off mom somehow. The spankings were fine. The beatings and grudges my parents held onto were problematic. My dad made me sleep in the garage and didn't talk to me for 3 months when I was 10 because I said no when he asked if I wanted to watch him work on the car. He'd never show me anything or even let me hold the light for him and frequently yelled and beat me, so I thought I could avoid another beating. He only spanked me for getting bad grades in school. I remember welts on my legs from the jug cord. I remember trying to hide them with my socks pulled up, but failing. They were noticed. 65-year-old me wishes she could tell 12-year-old me, "It's not you who should feel shame. Roll down your socks." I was lightly spanked like twice as a kid. Not by a long shot was I ever abused. My dad was the fking goat, and my parents loved the shit out of me. He passed when I was young. In 2001, R.I.P. Daddy, I love you's red heart. All it taught me was to fear touch. To this day, even someone tapping me on the shoulder makes me flinch. My parents always used to give me grief over it too, e.g., "Why do you never let us hug you?" Because you always hit me? Yes. And I hated my father for it. I swore every time he did it that I'd kill him once I was old enough. Now that I'm older, I figured that murder wasn't the way to go, so I just cut contact instead. I remember it as reinforcement for the screw-up I made. I was sat down and talked to prior to each spanking, and made sure I understand why I was being punished for what I did. I would not call it abuse in my case. Just posted about this topic yesterday in the Gen X sub, coincidentally. My dad was crazy with the spankings. He'd beat the shit out of us for any mistake. Spilling the milk got you hit in the same kind of way as though you'd deliberately broken a family heirloom. It made me grow up being deathly afraid of making any mistakes ever. I never had kids, but when I got my first cat, I realized I'd never treat an animal that way, much less a human child. We'd react to being hit with tears, which would make him say, "I'll give you something to cry about." And he'd just keep hitting us more and harder until we were too traumatized to be able to cry anymore. I'm 49 and still can't cry about anything to this day. I am happy to report that he died around 20 years ago. My dad did it out of anger with a leather belt to the back of the legs. I grew up in the deep south, and it was slash is considered normal parenting. I do consider it abuse, but I think my dad did it because that was the social norm. It's not okay though, and it has definitely attributed to my mental illness. I remember begging him to stop because the pain was so bad. Edit grammar. The times an object was used that broke the skin and or marks were left that lasted for days, whether from an object or bare hands. Yeah, I'd say that was abuse. Thanks for the lifelong hypervigilance and deep feelings that I am unlovable mom and dad. Absolutely. To be honest, I don't actually remember mine. My memories always stop after my dad would barrel towards me, but I remember some of my sisters very vividly. She was about 8, and I don't even remember what she did, but I remember my dad grabbing her arm and repeatedly spanking her as she struggled and tried to get away. He lost his grip, grabbed her again, and dragged her back to him, and he continued to hit her harder. She doesn't remember that at all.